You've pressed the red button. Now, here's something of no value.
So, Stewart, religion. It's a hot potato, but what filling would you put on that potato?
Baked beans and cheese.
Is that your favourite filling?
It's not my favourite thing, but I think it'd be the most appropriate to the religious hot potato. As far as I know, there's no, well, I was about to say there's no religions that have restrictions on those two products, but of course cheese is a dairy product. There may be some aspects of Judaism that couldn't eat that, so I guess just beans. Just beans, basically, just something that, you know, I'm not going to sit here and when you say to me, what filling should there be in the hot potato of religion, I don't want to say like tuna, because lots of people can't eat that, or pork, lots of people can't eat that, because I don't want to have to then deal with a flood of complaints where people say, he said religion was a hot potato, and then for the filling, he said that there should be something in it which is prohibited by various religious groups. But as far as I know, there isn't a religion that has issues with beans.
But how about hatred and a dash of lies?
You're asking me to talk in terms of the filling as a kind of metaphor for something, as a concept, and both of the things you've said, hatred and lies, suggest that you're looking at religion in a pejorative way, and that's not the intention of this programme. So I wouldn't fill the potato with hatred and lies. I wouldn't fill it with tuna fish or pork or any kind of dairy product or anything. It's beans, 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 beans.
How would you respond to the criticism then that you're being a pussy?
Why would people... You're thinking of John Gorn, aren't you, specifically, who I know when he at weekends runs a baked potato stand in Southend, and he deliberately tries to fill those potatoes with as many with fillings that will annoy people from different faith groups, and he does that to prove some obtuse political point, and his sales of potatoes are negatively impacted on as a result of that. If you're asking me to run a non-profit making baked potato stand just to prove some kind of point about freedom of speech, what a petty-minded waste of time.
Now, you and Richard Dawkins are both well known for being atheists. But is that because atheism sells very well?
It is. I mean, it's interesting. Like, initially, when I first did jokes about religion 20 years ago, it was something that I cared about. Now I don't. In fact, I've moved my position towards agnosticism at worst. But it's become a really workable market. At the end of the day, we have to think of ourselves as brands. How are we going to consolidate those brands? And the way you do it is by taking whatever position would appear to be the most commercially successful. And I mean, I know that Dawkins himself has had a number of supernatural experiences involving ghosts and enchanted animals, but they're not things that he chooses to talk about because he's very much closely aligned with that position. We've seen this throughout entertainment history. That people will, you know, hang on to a position long after they've outlived it intellectually because the market is there to work. Ronnie Barker, for example, was not an overweight man by the end of his life, but he continued to work in a fat suit in order to be able to play the kind of characters that he was closely associated with. It was too late to change. He knew the market he was working.
And neither is Ronnie Corbett short.
Well, Ronnie Corbett isn't short. Ronnie Corbett just had a late growth spurt and is now 6'4". But if he was to turn up like that, all the work that he gets playing dwarves at Christmas at parties and things. My old management, they had a Christmas party where Ronnie Corbett was there as dressed as a dwarf, giving out truffles and things. A Christmas dwarf. He was 6'2". He had a late growth spurt. It was ridiculous, but because it was Ronnie Corbett, we kind of bought into the idea that he was small. It's almost like it played a trick on you. In fact, a lot of the work that he did of the distribution of mince pies and things, whilst dressed as a Christmas dwarf, he was required to stand at the very end of a long room with a kind of tapered floor that gave him a false perspective, so that he would look smaller. But as you approached him, his true height became immediately apparent. But that's a good example of someone in entertainment becoming known for a particular position and sticking to it to work their market in the face of the facts.
Do you think there is a somewhere else? An ether.
I think there's definitely somewhere else. Yeah.
I haven't finished explaining what it is. That I think you might think there might be something of. There is a somewhere else, another plane. Actually, I have finished.
Yeah. Well, I think there might be somewhere else. Yeah, definitely.
And is that something that concerns you? Or?
No. I'm quite. I mean, if you've got a cardboard box on a table and it's shut, what's inside it?
tramp?
Well, possibly, but somewhere else is inside it, and like, it would be a fool that said there isn't somewhere else, because there might be. Well, there might not be as well. And I think if people take...
That's rubbish.
No, if people take one thing away from this programme, from this week's programme, I'd like them to entertain the possibility that there may or may not be somewhere else. That's what it's driving towards.
There may or may not be somewhere else.
Yeah, yeah.
And you're not prepared to be any clearer
No, I think that it's
whether there is or isn't?
I think it's something people have to think about for themselves, you know, and I think that's the purpose of art, is to ask questions and not necessarily answer.
So is the red button, as it were, a metaphor for another dimension?
It is, yeah. I mean, what I don't understand is where is this? So people are watching the red button now, but where's this content?
I don't know.
Is it on the telly, right, or is it flying around like in rays in the atmosphere, and the red button somehow clicks onto it? Where's it coming from? Where's it stored? Like, it's absolutely beyond me. I mean, I'm quite frightened to be red button content, because I don't think you should ever appear as content in a format that you don't even understand. It seems like it's asking for trouble. Like, you know, you wouldn't submit to an operation that had not been explained to you. Also, if someone presses the red button and I'm on holiday in another country, do I then get like sucked in to the television and have to do this?
I think contractually you're obliged, while the red button is up there, you're obliged wherever you are to respond to whatever anybody says
to the demands of a member of the public.
Yes.
For more content.
Yes.
But I'm not a content provider.
Well, you are.
I'm not what it says on my passport, content provider.
You've signed a piece of paper that said, yes, I agree to the red button.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, that means the BBC now has everything.
Everything.
Yes.
Unlimited content. When I decided to sort of absent myself from society 20 years ago to become a writer and a performer, that's what I wanted to do. I didn't go, I'm a content provider. What are you going to be? Content provider. You know, Shakespeare wasn't a content provider, was he? News, is news content or is it news?
News is observation about content and then commentary on content.
And at what point does content become fact? At what point does content become art, or is it all just content?
Content must never become fact.
When the programme's not on anymore and no one can press the red button to access the extra content, where does the content go?
I don't know. All I know that is they are constructing an enormous red button at the bottom of the sea, and that's where it's all going to be placed.
You know when you go to like a remote Scottish island?
Yes.
And in the middle of it, there's a kind of circle of wheeling gulls.
Yes.
And you think, what are they?
Exactly.
What's underneath that?
Exactly.
Content.
Yeah.
Now, one of the nice things about doing the show was I was able to choose who I wanted as warm-ups. You have, when you're doing TV recordings, you have like a warm-up person to go on in between and at the beginning when transmission breaks down. And it's good to have people with lots of jokes normally to keep it moving. But the acts I like tend not to be like that. I've sort of broke with the logic of warm-up man tradition by choosing as my warm-up one of my favourite acts who doesn't even speak English as a first language. He's a German comedian called Henning Venn. Henning came to Britain to work as a marketing manager for Wycombe Wanderers Football Club. Pretty soon he realised that his future lay elsewhere. He went into a comedy club and decided that even speaking in his second language he could do better than some of the acts he's seen. And he's brought a stereotypical forensic German intelligence to bear on his observations of British life. But you're going to see some clips of him now, culled from his little warm-up sessions here. I urge you to go and see him in full effect. Here's some bits of Henning Venn.
Hello. Hello. Ooh, yeah, hello. Yeah, let me briefly introduce myself. My name is Henning, and I am the German comedy ambassador. It's not the easiest of jobs. And the British always say we Germans don't have a sense of humour. I don't find that funny. But anyway, off we go. Are you all in a good mood? That's jawohl. Jawohl, yeah, and I'm not in a good mood. Had not a nightmare yesterday. I was visiting my mate Horst in hospital. He swallowed a sponge. He says it doesn't hurt, but he's always thirsty. Huh? Did you get that? Yeah, he said it doesn't hurt, but he's always thirsty. Funny. Yeah, there is one golden rule in German humour. Always start with your best joke. That is what I just did. Yeah. I mean, I must admit I've never ever done stand-up back home. Never ever. Reason being, I'm not good enough to cut it in Germany. Whilst over here in Britain, bloody easy. If you want to have success as a stand-up here in Britain, all you have to do, loads of swearing. So in Germany, we don't swear at all. Reason being, things work. You know it's true. Dear, oh dear. Let's better check. Yeah, so far we had 1 minute and 31 seconds of jolliness. And counting. Yeah. Yeah, they always say timing is the secret of comedy, don't they? I'm not sure if everybody understands how important timing is for good comedy. So I can prove that by performing a sketch now. Yeah, I'll be two people, one at a time. Person one, is there any football on the box tonight? Yes. Austria, Hungary. Against whom? Yeah, that one is my favorite joke. Yeah, because that joke is all about timing. No, because if that incident plays between 1867 and 1918, then we're not dealing with a joke at all. Yeah, it's just someone inquiring about the footballing opposition of the dual monarchy on the night. Yeah, but we can rule that out. You remember the first bit where it goes, is there any football on the box tonight? Box is slang for television, which was only invented in the 1930s, well after the end of the Austrian-Hungarian dual monarchy. Hence, it's a joke.